Hey, and welcome to GatheredIn.One. I'm really happy that you found my channel here. I'm guessing that a lot of people end up kind of finding this as they come over from Zion Media, which is where I do most of my podcasts with the group, kind of the channel that we're developing that tends to be a little bit more entertaining and interactive. But this channel, is kind of where I have a dumping ground for a lot of my thoughts and a lot of the videos that are a little more exhaustive. So if you have the patience to kind of sit through some of these really long, exhaustive videos, more power to you. I'll try and make them somewhat entertaining, but I can't really guarantee it when it's just me. But anyway, there's just a lot of really cool things that I have learned over the years that I want to share on this channel, right? So if you're new to the channel, you'll see that I'm starting to make videos on all the sections of my GatheredIn.One website, right? So if you haven't been to my website, or if you're not coming here for my website, I'd encourage you to check that out, right? That's www.gathered.one, right? Like the spelled out O-N-E.one instead of .com. And that's kind of the dumping ground of a lot of my kind of philosophical and doctrinal and geological thoughts that I've had in my 20-year career. So many cool things. And like I say, for new people to the channel, probably some of the big highlights that I do on this channel is one, prophecy. I've just always been really super excited about the biblical calendar, the biblical timeline, the prophetic timeline. It's so interesting, right? It's so fun to play around with. And I mean, you don't really need to take anything there as gospel, but I have a lot of really interesting insights that I've found over the years, and a lot of those insights are based on some of the really cool mystic texts that I've read. I've been really into that since I was 19, right? And I've read all these 1,000-page treatises like Oaspi, the Law of One, the Kolbrin. So if you haven't kind of checked out that part of my website, I'd encourage you to do it, because those things just have such incredible insights. I mean, they are spectacular. Like the Kolbrin, right? I mean, it's like the Book of Mormon of Britain. Just super fascinating. People who dismiss it offhand, like the Rational Wiki article, people who haven't even read it. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's ancient texts that are in there, even though it might have spurious texts that are added to the more ancient ones. I think that you'll read my article. There's aspects in that are not easily dismissed, that have only been proved recently by genetic testing of Egyptian mummies, right? So to try and explain that away, that someone just made up those Egyptian family relationships that have only been recently discovered through DNA testing, Egyptology stuff. So really cool stuff there, and all of that stuff informs the insights that I have within my prophetic timelines that are just really unique, right? I don't think you're going to find any other site where people are coming up with some of these ideas, because there's just not a lot of people who have delved into these texts to really interpret them the way I do. And then the other big section to my site, right, is my Book of Mormon archaeology model, which has just been so spectacular just a spectacular journey to have that kind of come to me. I mean, some people are not going to believe it at all. Other people, I hope that you'll really just kind of delve into it and see how spectacular the correlations are. I mean, it blows my mind. It's stuff that even when I started on this journey, if someone would have told me, it just would have been like, I don't know if I could have even believed it, because it's so amazing. I mean, first of all, just the evidence of transoceanic travel, that stepping outside completely of the religious Book of Mormon narrative and looking at my transoceanic travel stuff, which I have a lot of that on the Zion Media podcast, right? I'm doing videos on that too, and it's in my book that I'll be releasing soon. But those correlations between the old world and the new world, right? Especially like Egyptian reliefs. So in both, the upper and lower parts of Egypt and Mesopotamia, especially like the anthropomorphized birds with the satchel, with the bag, right? Which you can read about or watch some of my videos on, and then correlating those to some of the reliefs you see in La Venta or Chalcansingo. Also the ones further south. There's so many, and I can't really cover them all in this intro video, but I just hope that you'll check out the videos that I do on them, because they are so convincing, right? I mean, I don't even know how you can dismiss that. It's once you see them all kind of in a line, even once you got kind of like 5 of them lined up to each other, you'd be like, what? How on earth? There's no way that could be coincidence. That the people in the old world, right, and the people in the Americas and the people in Mesopotamia could just independently come up with these religious motifs without any communication with each other. I think the chances are zero, essentially, right? once you see them all together, it really is like, whoa, there's no way. But then that has informed, right, my Book of Mormon geography model. And my Book of Mormon geography model, like I've mentioned in interviews and my other videos that I do, I mean, that has been just an amazing journey too, because from the time I was young, I've had these just like really crazy visionary experiences, right? I mean, some people might watch this and hear about me talk about them, or read them in my articles where I really detail them carefully and just be like, oh, that's just, wow, that's just you dreaming, right? And they all happen kind of in that state, like right between wake and dream, where you completely think you're awake and you see like the room and the lighting and everything like that, even the digits on the alarm clock, and you're sure that you're awake and you're having like a real experience, and then suddenly you open your eyes and it's like crazy because nothing changes, like the lighting in the room. I've had times when there's been like just a certain amount of light on the horizon from the sun rising, and I can see that, and then I open my eyes and it's like, well, nothing's changed. I see the same scene like I was looking through my eyes, but yet they're closed, right? So I mean, leave a comment if you've had those experiences. I've talked to, like, I've really read hundreds of other people who have had similar experiences, and people who haven't had those experiences just be like, oh, well, that's just a vivid dream, and people who have had those experiences can be like, no, there's something to this, right? There is something more powerful, more unexplained, untestable, that our society for some reason doesn't want to accept, and you can kind of choose, right? Wait, you go ahead and listen to those for yourself and choose for yourself what kind of stance you want to take. I'm not going to say it was one way or the other. I can look at it objectively myself too, and look at it both ways. But in all those visionary experiences, like I said, I've had all these things that have come to me in this Book of Mormon model, especially, right? So much help with finding these different aspects of the Book of Mormon model. And the model, if you haven't watched the intro video of that, right, it's the continental model, which kind of unifies the two kind of split models that exist in the church right now between kind of the Mesoamerican guys, these Mesoamerican models between the Grijalva, Usumacinta, two Cumorah Mesoamerican models, and the Heartland models, right, which mostly put the Book of Mormon up in the eastern United States. All right, so this model unifies both of them. It says that it happened, the entire continent happened both in Mesoamerica and North America. It just really goes through a lot of amazing evidences with that. And then I've created all of these tools to help myself and others on this journey as well, right? So if you haven't checked out my North American archaeological database and interactive map viewer, I mean, I'd encourage you to do it. It's really awesome. I've spent a lot of time doing this programmatic developing of interactive tools to help people really visualize the things that I've studied. So you can study every single archaeological site in North America on that. And it has links to the Wikipedia articles, to images, also KML, so you can view them on Google Earth, so that as you watch my videos and as you walk through that model, you can kind of go along with it. And then I have other videos that talk about my Egyptian model. I have a revised Egyptian chronology, right, because the Colburn has some really interesting information that helps make some correlations between Herodotus and Manetho's Egyptian chronologies, right, that all of modern Egyptian chronology is kind of based on those initial early authors. And it does a small correction, right, saying that there's like a 400-year offset that they've got it off, and that's all because of this Hallstatt plateau, where, if you don't know what that is, that's a radiocarbon plateau. In radiocarbon dating, there is a period of time called the Hallstatt plateau, which goes between about 400 BC and 1000 BC, where the radiocarbon dates need a strong correlation, right? So in the Cal correlation curve, they have to correlate the true date to the supposed date because there was some kind of a radiocarbon anomaly during that period that made the dates off that they know about. And my supposition, right, is that they've actually done it wrong. They've correlated them by pushing them, 200 to 400 years in one direction, and they should have gone 200 to 400 years in the other direction. And as soon as you do that, then holy cow, the Egyptian chronology comes alive too. Right. I mean, I've spent my career, my life studying. I'm a geologist, so if you have checked out my Utah geology site, I do a lot of these similar things for geology because I love geology. Like, holy cow, that is my passion. And it was geology that kind of led me into geoarchaeology and archaeology, and they're really closely correlated. And all of those kind of dating methods, whether it be the geologic dating methods of potassium-argon dating, argon-argon, uranium series dating, all those radiometric dating methods, those are really geologic disciplines, right? So by being a geologist and having that geologic background, It kind of makes me more. I'm pretty knowledgeable about all that kind of stuff, and I'll try and walk people through that. Maybe if you don't know anything about it, I can try and help you through it. And I have some videos as well trying to clear up correlations on the ideas of kind of harmonizing creationism and uniformitarianism. People who are creationists / catastrophists. I think I've come up with a lot of really spectacular geologic models and a lot of really cool tools, right? I mean, really just like world famous tools that I've gotten national awards for, that help display the geology of Utah especially, but even the entire United States on 3D Google Earth terrain bases. And then I have all my videos that I'm starting to release too that help walk people through the geologic history of the Colorado Plateau, all the way from the bottom of the Grand Canyon to the top of Bryce. And I have some ideas on that as far as the evolution of the Colorado Plateau, some really unique ideas where I'm trying to write some papers to publish that kind of refutes the general consensus right now on the evolution of the Colorado Plateau, gives one that I think is a lot more plausible, that I think and hope will become mainstream, become the main model once I really kind of get it out there and get it promoted. And then I have some more fringe theories on Ice Age information, like my Ice Age visualizations. If you haven't seen those, they're kind of cool, and they're more fun, and they kind of deal with cosmology and really the structure of the universe, what makes the Milky Way galaxy the way that it is, these arms in it, how that's created by kind of this double interference pattern between these two pulsating gravity masses in the center of the galaxy. But that actually kind of like, it all kind of synchronizes together. I mean, this site I love, right? GatheredIn.One kind of brings all that science and religion together, and it brings those cosmologies of like that are scientifically proven in physics and kind of integrates them into the scriptures, into the Book of Mormon, the destructions that happened at the time of Christ, the Book of Abraham, my Egyptian studies, trying to talk about how the Egyptian and Israelite people integrated, right? Because Israel was part of the Egyptian Empire, something so many people don't really catch that and remember that from the Bible, that at the time of Solomon, right, just right after his death, Egypt conquered both the northern and the southern kingdom. One of them kind of became a vassal, and the other one was just a partner from the beginning, because Jeroboam went and partnered with the Pharaoh. And so for, it doesn't really say exactly how long, but most likely all the way from the time of Solomon to, the time of at least Isaiah, both those kingdoms were essentially vassals of the Egyptian Empire and integrated within the Egyptian culture, which is why you've got all this Egyptian culture in the Qumran and in the Book of Mormon. So many spectacular things. And like I said, I'm just trying to give you a taste of them, trying to give you a little bit of an overview between all these mystical texts, the historical texts like the Qumran, my prophetic timelines, my Book of Mormon archaeology, just my life's work. And the one other last thing that I hope that you'll check out on here is the Book of Ben Catherine, right? I had a spectacular kind of visionary experience that led me to that book. I really hope that you'll check out the Book of Ben Catherine. When it comes to my prophetic timelines, they are heavily influenced by the prophecies in the Book of Ben Catherine. Right, and this is a Jew that's alive right now, alive today in Jerusalem. That this book says that he saw the Lord. Right, just it's like the same as the Joseph Smith experience, where we have this mystic person, this prophetic individual who claims something like outrageous, right? Just like crazy. He's saying that he had a vision where it wasn't just like a dream or anything, where the Lord actually appeared to him and he saw his glory, in the same way that Moses did, and that he called him to be a prophet to modern Israel, to Jerusalem today, right? And that he's told him not to take any followers other than just this group of 7 disciples, and that he lives there and he's just kind of sitting out of the public eye, waiting for the Lord to call him to prophesy before the people when all these amazing events go down, right? He's 70 chapters, this Book of Ben Catherine, of prophetic prophecy. Reads, just like the book of Isaiah or Ezekiel. If the guy isn't prophetic, he definitely has the Bible memorized. Every single verse is like an allusion to some Old Testament prophecy. He's definitely a genius, like Joseph Smith, right? But I hope that you'll check that out, because he even says in there, he's like, people aren't going to believe me. Like, what do I do when they say I'm prophesying in vain? And it's like the Lord is telling him in their first person. He's saying, well, they won't believe you at first, but it doesn't matter, because the things that I tell you will come to pass. And in time, they'll see that everything you said came to pass. And he prophesies things that are completely different than the mainstream narrative, but I hope you'll find for my site. That's really what I go for, right? I'm very interested in books. That's why I like Oasby and The Law of One and Colburn, like these books that are very unique, that don't just tell the same thing that everybody tells, right? When it comes to prophetic things, it's almost like this chorus of chickens all kind of squawking the exact same thing, and they just repeat the exact things that they hear. But when I find these incredibly unique, especially in regards to their cosmology, but these incredibly unique texts, and they really pique my interest, and I just go at them hard, and I've read enough of them that my worldview is completely shaped by this super interesting set of books that I'm an expert on, right? And the Book of Catherine is one of those because it's so spectacularly unique. Instead of saying the same thing, it's got this prophecy that Israel is going to basically be, it's like the second coming isn't coming right now. The end of the times of the Gentiles is coming, and Israel is going to be not only just attacked, like everyone says, but actually become essentially a vassal or some kind of a puppet state almost to this new emerging caliphate, this Islamic coalition that will have them be kind of partners, or we can go into the details of that, for another 70 years. In the same way that they're kind of like a puppet state to the west for the first 70 years of their existence, they're going to be essentially a puppet state to the east, or to this Islamic Russian coalition for 70 full years. But the most spectacular part being like that it's saying this is going to be an amazing arrangement for them, even though it's going to be hard at first. It'll actually, them detaching from the west and becoming part of the east will make them flower, unlike anything they've ever seen, and they will become, within 70 years, kind of the new Rome of the world, right? Christianity will shift its focus, which is already happening, but it'll shift to this Messianic Judaism when they're turned not only to Jehovah, to the Lord, but also to a type of very unique Messianic Christianity that they define, that comes from this string of prophets started by Ben Catherine, who it says it highly suggests that he will be the one that does miracles that haven't been seen since the time of Jesus, right? We're talking about like people raised from the dead, people without legs, given legs, all the stuff that is kind of outrageous, things that are hard to believe. Maybe we'll see them in the news and you'll remember what I said and you'll be like, holy cow, when everyone else is saying, that's just AI, it's fake. Or maybe it won't happen and we'll all just like have something fun and interesting to read. You go ahead and you read it yourself, make your own judgments. I'm not trying to force anyone to a belief, but I encourage you to have an open mind and to take a read, trying to open your heart to these things, trying to step outside of your programmed, religious history. Where you're like, have this truth that you think, just like the Jews when Christ came the first time, they thought they understood, they thought they knew what they were looking for, and he wasn't it. He wasn't what they were looking for. Only those people with an open enough mind to realize he actually did fulfill the prophecies, but they were just expecting and thinking things wrong. Open your mind to that degree, to these things, and see if maybe they resonate with you. If they do resonate with you, drop a comment, watch my videos, follow along, because I have so much that I want to share, and a lot of really powerful spiritual experiences and things that kind of are just, trying to break out of my heart. Anyway, that I hope resonate with you, including some of the personal stories I'll tell you about when all this started was when I was young, right? When I was 17 through 20, and those were crazy times in my life, right? That's when my parents, things just got horrible. My dad took off. Their marriage sucked while I was in high school. He wasn't around much. Then when he did come back, things got worse. They got divorced. Then my dad was killed in a freak accident. So I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have kind of a sucky spell. We all go through those kind of spells in our life, those periods where things get rough. But I kind of hope that maybe too, as I share some of these things, and hopefully I'll refer to that more often, that it'll be kind of a message of hope too, because it's during those periods of just like challenge and hardship that that's when we get close to heaven. That's when we really have the spiritual experiences in our life, the ones that we remember, and the ones that make lasting impacts not only on us, but on the direction of our life. And anyway, I think that it's those tough experiences that we go through that really define us, that define our character, and that end up being the experiences that make all these amazing things happen. Heaven comes close, And so I hope that, anyway, as I share my experiences that I've had, that other people can kind of share their experiences too in the comments, so we can talk about all those different aspects of life, and especially how that they influence our own kind of progression here on life, our own, journeys. But anyway, it's just so many things I hope to share with you. I'm glad that you're along for the ride. I hope that you'll subscribe. I hope that you'll kind of follow my videos and keep an open mind, and that you'll share your experiences with me in the comments, and I can share mine with you, and that we can have kind of a mutually beneficial journey here. But thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.